You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by focus-biz.com.
This week's episode features a very special guest, Dominique D'Vita. She is a nurse certified master coach, trauma-informed, and certified Tantra educator. Her company, YesTantra.com, helps men and women and couples and singles live more passionate and successful lives. Dominique, so excited to meet you. Thanks for coming on. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Such a pleasure to be here.
We appreciate it. We always like to ask our guests, tell us about your entrepreneurial journey. Where did you first start and how did that bring you into what you're doing today?
Great question. I've been a nurse since I was 19. I've been a nurse for well over 30 years. And initially, I just wanted to do something that would be helpful to people. It's like, how can I help people, help humanity? And so that's the path. I think back in the day, that's the crossroads where you think, okay, this is an opportunity for me to do that. And I also had a really challenging childhood, a lot of trauma, a lot of challenging things that happened. My mother was alcoholic, my parents divorced, a lot of things. But one of the things too, I'll just pop in here is that over 95% of adults received inadequate parenting. That's something that we're not aware of. So it does impact us. So that did impact me, but I kind of threw myself into my work and being like, how can I help other people? What can I do for other people? And being a workaholic and not always focusing on what my needs were, right? And unpacking the things that I had been through in the past. So I was on my journey, and about a decade before I had my first experience with Tantra, I was interested in it. And I got a book at Barnes and Noble, like a dummy's guide to Tantra. And I was a real dummy, and I just brought it home and took it and put it on the shelf and thought, like, okay, I'll do this when I have a lover that wants to do this with me too. And how often can we be motivated about things in the bedroom when someone else can do this with me? And if I would have opened it up, Chris, I would have seen there's a lot of solo Tantra practices, and I could have begun my healing journey a decade before. I cannot even imagine how amazing that would be because my life has gotten so much better since I've been on this path. So then I took a travel nurse assignment to California and packed that book up in my car, went across the country, again, back on my shelf. And then I met someone that was also from Texas and living in California. And when we went on our first dates, he didn't share with me that he had studied Tantra, but he had studied Tantra. He dated a Tantra coach. He had been studying it for over a year and had mastered these amazing things that men can do with Tantra and that most men are not even aware is even possible for them. And I still didn't know. And the first time that we were intimate together, I had such an amazing experience with him through the way the lovemaking would be with Tantra practices that was almost like the sexual healing Marvin Gaye would sing about. It was so profound. And the first time we had this experience, I just maybe thought it was a fluke. I was like, wow, that was interesting, but is that repeatable? And then that morning he said, hey, will you come back, today, tonight afterwards? I was like, man, that was awesome. That's not even a question. I'll be here for this. And then the same thing happened again in just like these like 5 hours of amazing pleasure. And some people will think, oh, that sounds like too much. That sounds like I really would want to do that for so long, or that would get boring, or how could that happen? But time flies when you're having fun. And when we're taught the way to use our bodies in the bedroom through watching adult videos or things we see on TV is completely different. That wouldn't be a really good time for 5 hours. So Tantra is different. But I had this awakening, and if anyone, the viewers can see on the back with the chakras and the energy centers, my energy went up through my chakra centers, and my third eye chakra and my crown chakra opened, and I had like this awakening, and I shifted. I was just never the same after that, but in the best possible way. As I started like diving deeper and researching Tantra, I had this experience. And one of the things I said to him after the second night of lovemaking, I just sat up with him and I looked him in the eye and I just said, I just want to clone you and give one of you to all my friends. Because I felt so heartbroken in the moment because so many women are never going to experience this in their lifetime. It just breaks my heart. So then I started studying Tantra more, and I even took a time of being celibate and just having a very intentional relationship with myself as I learned the practices. And I discovered like these are the tools that open my heart. Ironically, at the same time, I had training as a nurse where I could assist with open heart surgery. So I had special training to be a first assist. And if any surgeries required two surgeons, I could take that second role. And I've helped with open heart surgeries, brain surgeries, robotic surgeries, all kinds of things. And I realized like these are the tools that truly open my heart. And this is like what people really need to know about. And the other thing being in critical care, seeing people, taking care of people sometimes as they're facing the biggest fear of their life, or sometimes when they don't make it, and being with them in those last moments and they're sharing their regrets and not being able to really do anything except give them compassion, but it's already done. Like your life has been lived. So I thought if I can meet people in their earlier point in their timeline before they're in the hospital and share these tools with them and they can have this healing, then maybe they can even avoid the hospital because one, pleasure is medicine. And a lot of diseases related to trapped and stuck emotions and traumas that we have in our bodies. So that, and just living a life where they're letting go of shame and they're really being their full authentic selves. That's why I stepped away from my nursing career and became a coach full time. And I really love this path because I work with both men and women, couples and singles, because we have such a challenging time in our worlds of how men and women relate to one another. And Tantra can really help create deeper intimacy and connection.
That is so interesting and a incredibly fascinating journey to where this problem first started and the solution that came together is just incredible here. So take me through, like, consider me someone who has zero knowledge about any of this stuff. What is it? Is it mental? Is it physical? What's the history behind it? How does it work? I have so many questions. Tell me more.
I'd love to share. So a lot of it is energetically. Our emotions are just energy and motion. And then our energy centers in our bodies are chakras. And so doing things like taking deep breaths, working with our energy and keeping our energy flowing in our bodies. I want you to think of a body of water. When you see a body of water and it's stagnant and there's not a flow through there and a current, a healthy current, a film starts to develop on the top of that water. And that's where disease and stuff can build up on. That's the same in our bodies. When our energy centers and our energy isn't fully flowing through our vessel, through our body, then we're having stuck and trapped energies and with emotions, and that energy stagnant instead of like being a healthy river of things flowing and us being energized. And how many people in our world now are feeling drained or exhausted or run down, right? So this is tapping into our life force energy. There's some Tibetan lineages of Tantra, but a lot of it is from India, those lineages that I studied. And these are ancient wisdom and practices from over 5,000 years ago. But I make them modern and effective for our everyday use. But there's so much wisdom in here. And I will share with you that when I became a trauma master coach, one of the things that really was surprising to me is they shared that the three things that support healing trauma are breath, sound, and movement. And the three tenets of Tantra for over 5,000 years is breath, sound, and movement. I was like, oh, that's why I started healing my stuff from the past. And my oldest daughter would tell me, I remember, Mom, you would read a lot of books. And you can see I'm a bookworm. You would read a lot of books or self-help books because I was trying to heal stuff from my mother being an alcoholic and traumas that I experienced. And she said, you would change for a little bit, but then you would go back to the same way. And the thing is, we think knowledge is power, but if we just keep it up here and we don't bring it into our bodies, we don't have that wisdom and we're not embodying it. And when I began doing Tantra, she even said it wasn't until you started with Tantra that you started to really change and have lasting change. That really shifted everything. And Tantra helps us have a better relationship with ourselves and then have a better relationship with the world around us. So it doesn't just help with a lover, it helps with your business partners, your friends, your relatives, everyone across the board will benefit because, again, Chris, relationships are just mirroring back to us the relationship we have within ourselves. And Tantra helps us to heal that relationship we have within ourselves. So it's a real game changer. I kind of go off on this. I get
That
really
is so
excited.
cool. That is so cool. I know a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs out there are probably feeling or experiencing these barriers. Maybe they're struggling with business or friendships or relationships, and something just isn't right. And they know something isn't right. And they try a lot of these things and maybe some exercise, some more self help books, but it doesn't ever really correct itself. And maybe there's some secret sauce hidden inside what Tantric can do for people.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm going to share a little more on this and share something with you that will really surprise you. But, one of the things too that I want to add into this is there's so much shame in our world and our society around sex. And there's a big misconception that Tantra is just about sex. And it's not just about sex. But the thing is, when you master this relationship with yourself, when you can connect deeply with yourself and be very present, and Tantra helps you with your five senses, drop into your body and have a deeper experience of yourself and more self awareness, then you're going to be more present and a better lover with someone else. So that's just a byproduct of it, right? So it's like, how can we really connect? And Tantra is really used more for expansion, enlightenment. If you think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the very top of the self actualization, that's what it helps you get to. And when you have this high level of self mastery within yourself and with your energy centers, then you can create more with it. And then if you see on the diagram behind me where the orange circle is towards the bottom of this, located a little below your belly button, it's your sacral chakra. The sacral chakra, an energy center, it's connected to your reproductive organs, but it's also connected to your creativity. So I want you to think about this. Sacral energy, your sexual energy is just the same. Other words for it could be your chi energy, your life force energy, your vitality. This is your creation energy. You are literally created from this energy. So if you know how to have a healthy relationship with that energy and not just waste it by being addicted to adult videos and constantly draining your life force energy that way, and you know how to harness it and focus it towards what you want, then you can really pursue your passions, build a bigger business, have more creative ideas, and you're going to expand your aura and be more magnetic. But so many of us have been programmed to have shame around this. So we constrict and we tighten down and we make a keep. We're like, oh, that's not safe. If good girls and good boys don't feel into this energy or vibration, you just have got to dim your light, dim your light. That's really what it's doing. And so if you really want to be in your radiance, it's like, how do we utilize all of this energy and have an intention behind it? Right. So it's so life changing. And so a lot of people in business world have probably read the book or have at least heard of the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Have you read that one?
I
Or have
have
you heard
heard
of
of
it?
that one. I think I
It's
have it
an
on a
oldie.
wish list.
Okay. It's an old one. It was published in the 1930s. This is one of the top books on being successful as an entrepreneur and in life. And many, many books that you've read after that have taken things from that book. But back in the day, someone went around and talked to Henry Ford and all, the wealthiest people around and found out what was their secret sauce. What were the things that they were doing? How were they successful? And put all this data together. And he discovered that one of the things that was helpful was when people knew how to master their sexual energy. So he has a chapter in there titled The Mystery of Sex. Now, it's really edgy now and almost 2030 for me to talk about this. Can you imagine in 1930 when he published this book? So he only could hint around it, but it was big enough that he dedicated a chapter. And he talked about sexual transmutation. And that is channeling that energy and using it towards like directing it the way we want to and have an intention with it and not you letting it control us or being slaves to that energy and not having a healthy relationship with it, but knowing how to build it up and increase our life force energy and then focus it towards what we want.
That is so fascinating. I know a
Yeah.
lot of our listeners out here are kind of thinking like, what is this stuff? I want to know more. I want to try it. Where do I need to go? Where can people find out more information and get educated and learn more about some of the offers that you have available for them?
Yeah, I would love to guide anyone. It's so amazing. So many people that I work with, they'll have gone to so many different coaches or different programs, and they'll have gotten good results from different things. It's not just be negative about anything else that they've done, but they'll say, I had no idea that this was going to be the piece that unlocked everything for me. Kind of reminds me of that old game Minesweeper. Like you're doing these little things and then boom, like your whole world opens up. But again, if you think I want to hit the reset button on my life, why don't we tap into that energy that brought us into existence to create a new life, which is exactly what it gives you the ability to do. So you can find me through my website is yestantra.com. And I have a free quiz there. If you were curious of learning, like discovering if you're ready for Tantra, if you're what energy or intimacy blocks that you might be having, or what could be tripping you up in relationships, because it's really draining to have a business and be successful if at home your relationships aren't thriving. And so once all of those things get in alignment, like you can really rapid track your success and your progress. So yes, that's where you can find me. And then I have a YouTube channel, Yes Tantra, and I share videos there weekly as well.
Very nice. And we'll have links available down in the description and the show notes. One thing that you mentioned with the entrepreneurs is that they're successful in their business, but their personal relationships suffer. And there seems to be a disconnect where one thing affects another, whether that's consciously or subconsciously. And there's very interesting stuff behind how the world works with the energy. Sound is also light, which is also waves, which is physical, which is just incredibly fascinating to understand how things kind of piece together. But this is human evolution at work. We're figuring out, putting forward the scientific method and just trying to understand how our bodies, our energies, and our minds all work together and are interlaced with the universe. So this has a lot of credibility to it. And it's interesting to hear about this. This is so cool. What is a piece of advice that you'd like to share with other entrepreneurs? Something you wish you knew sooner? What can they do to kind of get a taste or an experience of what this benefit can do for them?
Yeah. One of them is just one, mastering your energy and also allowing yourself to receive pleasure because, how we do one thing is how we do everything, right? So even if we're having an intimate moment or we're solo, how often, as soon as things are done, we just get up to do cleanup or we go off to the next thing, but we don't really allow ourselves to lay in there in that moment and really bask in that and be like, oh my gosh, this bliss feels awesome. Your ability to receive it in that moment is just the same as your ability to receive new clients, receive abundance, receive support from a team. If you're constantly deflecting compliments, you're deflecting support. For a while, I was my own bottleneck in my own business because if you can't count on your parents to be there for you, how are you going to count on a team to be there for you? So it's always the thing of like, I can do it myself. No one's going to do it the way I do it. Right. So getting out of your own way and being supported and knowing that you're worthy. And it's such a game changer. And then mastering, I have a thing where I'm doing a vitality mastermind of mastering these energy centers, mastering your breath work. And one of the things is we will say we want to have a really big life. We're calling in something really big on our business, but do we have the energetic body to hold that? Does our nervous system know how to hold this? And so these practices can help you to where you have that clarity and you can make better decisions and be more from an empowered place instead of operating and moving through life and business from a place of love over fear. And that helps you just magnetize more amazingness to yourself. So the other thing I'll add here is like how you show up in the bedroom is how you show up in the boardroom is how you show up in the Zoom room. So just notice how you're showing up and where you might be having shame or dimming your light or feeling out of power or out of control of yourself.
So wonderful. We appreciate you coming to share this wealth of experience and expertise within a new concept, but I wouldn't say new, but definitely misunderstood or not well known yet. How can we tell more people about the benefits of this to help educate them?
That's something that I've been trying to figure out, like how to get this more to the masses because it can be challenging because some of it is sex positive information, right? And that can be really shut down and repressed and like, oh, that's wrong or that's bad, or people can feel very uncomfortable with that. But just knowing that this is again our creation energy. Back in the day, people would say, I'm going to give a tantra massage, and maybe it was an escort, and they were just doing those things and using that word to make money, but they don't even understand tantra or know what it is. So some people don't understand how empowering Tantra is and they have a fear of it, but this really can change your life. And back in the day, the emperors and the rulers, they would not let the common people know these practices and they would keep this wisdom to themselves because it's too powerful for certain people to have. So if they want to control a population, they're going to have you dim your light. They're going to have you feel shame about who you are. Shame on the energy emotion frequency scale is 20 hertz. It's the lowest vibration. It is lower than fear, anger, or hate. So if we are dimming our light, if we're feeling ashamed and we're shutting ourselves down and closing ourselves off, we're easier to control. And we really want to be shining our light and be in our fullest, expression, our authenticity, be magnetic so that, we can attract those experiences, people, places, things that we're wanting to experience to us and stop living from a place of fear. But in our society, through media and everything, we are bombarded with messages bringing us into the place of fear. And just how can we step more into the place of love and having joy and having more of those moments. And that's really what Tantra's about.
It's almost like Tantra needs a bit of a brand refresh because there's this
Yes.
misperception that it's all about sex and it expands beyond that. I feel if it was rebranded for business people, like this is your next secret, the Think and Grow Rich, if it kind of covers in some of that already, maybe it just needs some fancier words to put behind it and people will be more likely to accept it. I don't know.
Yeah, I like the way you think. And then one of the things is they believe that Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison, Steve Jobs understood the principles of like these Tantra sexual transmutation practices. And that's how you tap into your creative genius. So people that have been the most successful understand how to master this aspect of themselves. And it's available to everyone, but we just have to dive into it and explore it and start to have a different way that we relate to ourselves. And that helps us relate to others in a different way too.
So fascinating. What are you most excited for to wrap up 2024 or anything new coming in 2025 that you're very excited about? Seems like you have a lot on your plate. Yeah, you have this ambition. You've unbottlenecked yourself. What is next for you?
Yeah, I'm super passionate about this. This year, I'm launching my first Vitality Mastermind. It's going to be really incredible. It's going to be focusing on life force energy, vitality, optimizing your health, your DNA, optimizing your body on a cellular level because I've been a nurse forever and I understand that. And, our bodies are the instruments to experience pleasure and the vehicle that we go through life in. So we need to take good care of it. So helping people to optimize and have that energy to do the things they want to do and not feel so drained and also healthy boundaries. How are you leaking your energy? Those things. So I have that in the works. And then in 2025, I'm going to begin my own podcast. So that's what's coming up for me.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Wonderful to hear all the ambition and projects that you're undertaking right now, spreading the educational piece behind it and doing what you do. We appreciate you coming on and sharing your time with us. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Good luck on all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. And good luck to you and everyone listening as well.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.